Next, this lunchtime, the deaths of a young woman and a teenager while in custody in Scotland might have been avoided. The conclusion of an inquiry into the deaths of 21-year-old Katie Allan and William Brown, who was 16. Both took their own lives within months of each other while being held at Polmont Young Offenders Institution in Falkirk in 2018. Our Scotland correspondent Peter Smith is in Glasgow for us this lunchtime. Peter, the sheriff at the inquiry pointed to systemic failures.
That's right, Lucrezia, and the families have waited almost 7 years for answers as to how two young people ended up dying 4 months apart, dying by suicide in the same young offenders institution in Scotland, at Polmont Young Offenders Institution in 2018. And 7 years later, we have those answers. We now know that the deaths of Katie Allan and William Lindsay could have been avoided, and that both were victims of systemic failures, tiers of failures in the system. Now, the findings in this fatal accident inquiry were excoriating of the prison system. They said that Katie Allan had been a victim of bullying. She had been relentlessly bullying after she went into prison. She was forced to stand naked in front of officers who were training for strip searches. Her hair was falling out, and that she'd been let down, that medical evidence, medical records that could have helped prison officers in Polmont Young Offenders Institution were not passed on. There wasn't the sharing of information in a timeous fashion. And after Katie Allan's parents raised concerns after a visit, they were dismissed, and it was within hours that Katie Allan took her life. And William Lindsay, he shouldn't have even been in Polmont. He hadn't been convicted of any offence, but he was in the care system. He was being raised in foster homes, and there was no place for him in secure care. He was sent to Polmont, and it was within 3 days that he took his life. Now, the findings found that he was failed time after time, and today Katie Allan's mother has called for the Crown immunity to be lifted to allow for prosecutions.
The system is broken, and what we want going forward is exactly what Amar outlined, is a complete overhaul of the fatal accident inquiry system in Scotland. We want non-means tested legal aid funding for state-related deaths for families, and we want the lifting of Crown immunity by the UK government.
So these families now have answers, Lucrezia, but now they want accountability. And for the families of William Lindsay and Katie Allan, the fight goes on.